Well, Yannis, if we're going to talk about the Masters, we should probably talk to someone who has actually played there, let alone been there. He knows what it takes to win on the PGA Tour and was also a member of 4 victorious European Ryder Cup teams. His trophy sitting behind him looks so beautiful. Luke Donald, former world number 1. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Olivia. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. Showing off the trophies a little bit, but very proud of those ones.
Well, I've also got to ask, right behind you is your Masters invite. Can we see that? And can you tell us the story behind that?
Yeah, that's the very first one that I got back in 2005, my very first Masters. Such an amazing experience when you get that through the mail. They send you the invite. I got it framed with a nice green frame, seemed appropriate. And
Yep.
Yeah, you always want to play in the Masters. And I think I've played 11 or 12 of them. And that was my very first one, and it was a very memorable one. I actually finished tied for 3rd that year, quite a few shots back from Tiger, who won. But it was one of the best experiences I've had on a golf course.
Now, how do you RSVP to that? Is it like a wedding RSVP? I'm confused.
I don't think it technically. It does say RSVP on it. I think most people who get that, or all the people who get it, never turn that down. So
Sure.
They just assume that you're good for the invite.
Have you ever thought about maybe playing a joke on them and saying you haven't received it, so they send you another one that you can sell on eBay?
Yeah, I probably should have done that a few days ago, April 1st. Yeah,
Yep.
Sent a tweet out. Where's my invite?
Well, of all the Masters you've attended, Yannis and I were just talking about the Tuesday night welcome dinner where the previous winner gets to select the menu. What are some memorable moments from that? What menus do you remember having?
Well, that's only for people who have won, so I've never been a part of the Masters dinners, unfortunately. But I did see, obviously, Dekker, who won the Masters last year, sent his menu was released today, and full of some, yummy Japanese foods that you would expect, sushi and Japanese wagyu and all that kind of good stuff. So it was looked like a really, really good menu. And unfortunately, I haven't been a part of that one. As I said, I came close a couple of times. 3rd in 2005. I finished 4th in 2011. Another couple of top 10s, but haven't quite got that green jacket yet. Still some hope.
If you had one, I mean, I know you're British, you're half Scottish, you say, you insist on that. I mean, the cuisine is it's not famous, we'll say that. So what would you put on the menu there? Would it be beans and toast, or what are we talking? Bangers and mash?
London's getting better. London's a little bit more of a different situation food-wise, but we're not absolutely known for our great cuisine, but maybe some fish and chips, or a roast beef dinner or something like that. That's pretty typical. With like a sponge sticky toffee pudding or something like that. That'd probably be pretty British.
I like
as long as you didn't say blood pudding. I wouldn't eat the blood pudding.
No haggis, none of that stuff.
You mentioned your first Masters and Tiger Woods obviously being a big part of that one. What is your favorite Tiger Woods memory on and off the golf course?
Well, I've got to play with Tiger quite a few times, over the years. Very first time was 2003 Open Championship, the British Open. We were playing down in England, and my brother was my caddy at the time. And on the 10th, that was the Open Championship. His first tee shot, he blew it way right and lost his golf ball. The very first time I played with him, which kind of put me at ease a little bit. I'm like, well, even the great Tiger Woods can lose a golf ball in a major championship. But the funny story was that my brother was caddying for me, and he was carrying the bag, and the strap broke on the 10th hole. Probably the biggest group I've ever been a part of, playing with Tiger Woods, playing with Sergio Garcia. And he's having to carry the bag, along the fairway with one hand like a suitcase. So, but yeah, I mean, I've played with Tiger lots of times, and just a special to obviously kind of share the game of golf with one of the best sportsmen ever to play sport, and obviously one of the greatest, probably the greatest golfer ever to play.
Who is someone you love being paired with and why? Who's not a buddy, I'm talking professionally. And then tell us someone who you hate being paired with.
Oh, you're going tough places, Yannis, already. I feel like I'm a very quick player. I'm ready. I'm always kind of wanting to get a move on. I'm not a big fan of slow play. So, anyone who's slow, I don't really enjoy. But anyone who plays quick, who's lighthearted, who doesn't take it too seriously out there, who's got a good sense of humor, those are the kind of guys that I like playing with.
We had Max Homa on the show this week last year to talk Masters, and I remember asking him this. It must be really annoying to play a sport that some people also play for leisure because they think that they could do what you do, and there's obviously no way they could, having beers on the golf course with their buddies. But what is that like just being in a sport that people actually play? Because, if you're playing in the NFL or NBA, people aren't trying to compare their chops to yours.
No, I mean, this is the great thing about our game is that you can compete with great players through the handicap system. And that's, I think, kind of a big attraction of our sport and why, you get a lot of businesses that love being associated with golf and sponsorships and all that kind of stuff because you can send guests to play, with a pro and you can compete with that handicap system and it's kind of fun, but I think, obviously good amateurs when they play in pro-ams and stuff at tournaments, they realize pretty quickly that there's a big difference between being a scratch golfer and being a professional golfer. There's quite a difference in the golf courses we play, how they're set up. It's very different and quite difficult. So they learn pretty quickly that, that there's a bit of a gap there between, even if they think they're a good player. But
that was said very kindly.
I mean, it's a
gap.
great sport though that you can have people of all kinds of levels and play together and kind of have fun and have games and have bets and just have a good time out there.
Yeah,
Luke, when most people retire, they play golf. When professional golfers retire, do they get a job? I mean, what do you do?
Hopefully you've had a good enough career. You don't need a job, but that doesn't always happen either. But man, I don't know. We can play golf for a long time. Not like other sports where you max out about 35, 40 years old usually. Once you get to 50, you can play on the Champions Tour. You got people like Bernard Langer, who's 62, 63 years old, and he's still winning, the money list title on the Champions Tour and doing very well. So. If he's extremely dedicated and works very hard at it, but he just doesn't seem to slow down. But yeah, who knows? I might get a little bit bored in another 20 years if I keep playing this game.
Speaking of longevity, how do you feel like the game has evolved over the last decade or so? Even we see pros coming in with such specific styles; their training habits are changing. Yeah. Off seasons have changed. A lot of young talent. How do you see the game evolving?
It's definitely become younger. You see these guys coming out of college that are ready to compete, ready to win. The standard of play out on the PGA Tour is gotten better and better each year. I remember, I've been on tour 20 years now, and just looking at where cuts are, the scoring to make the cut to play on the weekend has changed dramatically over the last 5 or 10 years. Like just because the standard of play is so much better, so much deeper. He's got these young kids who understand technology. They understand how to hit the ball far. They understand how to hit it straight. And they're hungry and young. And I think they've learned a lot from Tiger, how he came out at a young age and dominated the game. And they took a lot of confidence in that he could do it, and having that same kind of mindset has really propelled them. And it's tough for someone who's 44 and still playing out there. There's a lot of tough competition. It's not easy to compete against, and the level of competition has just gone through the roof.
Now, I'm a Greek, so of course all Greeks are aware of all other Greeks. Uniquely, because there's not a lot of us, you have married one. I got a lot of questions here. What's that like? Oh, no. Did you have a big fat Greek wedding? I know you went to Santorini. And when you play golf, does she come with her family and they make a little bit too much noise and you have to explain golf etiquette to her? I mean, and also lastly, were they rooting? Were they rooting in 2002 when you played Deanne Pappas at the Southern Farm Bureau Classic in 2002? Wow. Did she start rooting for him a little bit? Because Greeks love supporting other Greeks, so I know her heart was split there.
That's a lot of questions to get my head around. But yeah, my wife I met at Northwestern. Her parents were born in Greece. They moved to America when they were late teenagers, I think, and first generation Greeks. So there's Diane's mother, Yaya, spends a lot of time with us. She's probably about 50 yards away, making some dinner for us right now, like a good Greek lady.
That's amazing.
But it's been great to be a part of their family. You know what the Greeks are like; they're very welcoming, very family orientated. They look at me because I'm kind of a little bit of a slender British English guy, and they're like, "You need to eat more. You need to eat more. Fatten up a little bit." So. Yeah, it's been fun to be kind of get immersed in that Greek heritage.
Amazing.
Oh, I love that.
We did have a big Greek wedding too. Yeah, we went to Santorini. We were there. It was like a 4-day wedding. We went there to try and limit numbers because we thought there'd be way too many if we did it in Chicago, which is where her family is. But still, we had about 220 people rock up, and it was a big affair. It was a lot of fun.
Did you have to do the crowns?
Did the smash placing. We did the crowns. Did the smashing plates. Where she tries to step on my foot at the altar. Is that right? All the traditions. So
yeah. That's amazing. Have you ever seen a lamb roasting where his face roasting in the fire?
Absolutely. Yeah. Every Easter. Yeah.
Yeah, you married a real geek. Tikanis yaya posisa. Just saying hello to your mother-in-law. Amazing.
Let's hope she can hear. Oh, that's too funny. Well, you are home in Jupiter, Florida. I've got to ask, I'm sure the courses down there are incredible. Where's your favorite American course that you've played, whether professionally or for training or for fun?
Yeah, probably for fun, Oh, sorry about that.
You're good.
It's probably one of your...
It's probably Yaya.
It's probably the front door, yeah. It's probably some Greek family turning up. Probably, I would say it's for fun. We play such long, difficult golf courses on tour that I like to go play fun places. Some of my favorites would be on the West Coast, would be Cypress Point, pretty exclusive place, but right next to Pebble Beach, just an amazing place. I think Long Island has great golf courses too. Shinnecock National. There's a place called Friars Head. This was I've only played once, but one of my all-time favorites. Just loved it. I love Core Crenshaw. He did that place. Just a great architecture. And those are some of them. I obviously love playing in the UK. I love playing links golf courses, Scotland, Ireland, for the golf and for the hospitality. Just the people there so welcoming, and it's a good crack, as they say. When you go over, you have a few beers and you play some golf with some friends, and it's a pretty good trip.
Now, link style course. I noticed you didn't mention the one in my backyard, Whistling Straits. You said you didn't want to think about that one.
That was a tough loss for us. Americans really handed it to us there. They had a great young team. We certainly didn't play well enough, but you got to hand it to them. They played great, and we'll be back for some revenge though in Rome next year.
2011. I mean, you were locked in. You were world's number one. You and Rory went back and forth. What was that like? And are you guys friends now? Do you maintain a kinship because of that rivalry?
Oh yeah, we're good friends. We actually live very close to each other in the same community down here in Florida, and I see him quite a lot, and have lunch with him. We're members at the same golf courses, so it was great. Obviously, going back to 2011, that was my best year. I won the money list on both tours. I got to number one in the world. Life was great. I mean, the golf seemed very easy. When things are going well, everything seems pretty easy, and it's coming to you that way. So what an amazing year that was for me. That was kind of my purple patch was kind of 2010, 11, 12, a little bit of 13. I was really at the top of my game and enjoying life. And obviously Rory took over in 2012. He got to number one for a while and dominated for a couple of years, and Tiger came back really in 2013, and I think he got back to number one in the world by 2013. So it was obviously a great part of my career, something that I'll always remember.
Well, obviously the big story this week is the return of Tiger Woods after his horrific car accident, after all these surgeries, when we didn't know if he would walk again, let alone play again. He's currently 50-1 to win it all. What do you imagine this week at Augusta being like with all of that buzz, and what are you expecting out of Tiger?
Well, I think he just announced that he's teeing it up on Thursday, and I think he feels that he's ready. He's obviously waited up until just now to announce that, but just seeing how his leg was doing. But he was at Augusta last week. He was practicing these last few days. He obviously feels comfortable about where his leg is feeling, his overall health, and I'm excited to see him out there competing again. I think he brings a different energy, a different vibe, a different level of excitement from when it comes to golf, and the Masters will be seriously buzzing. And I once counted him out a few years ago. I thought maybe, after all the surgeries and all the back things he's gone through, and there's no way he can come back. And, he came back and won 3 times, including the Masters in 2019. So, never count Tiger out. I've done that once, and I learned my lesson. So he says he can win, and he wouldn't play if he didn't think he could win.
Mm.
You had some injuries throughout your career. 2008, you had that wrist injury. Golf is such a mental game. Obviously, his injuries are extreme and not really germane to golf, but what does it take to get that focus back? Does that affect you when you come back after injuries, mentally?
I think that's going to be the toughest thing for Tiger, is that he just hasn't had any competitive reps, for over a year, I believe, or a little bit more than a year. So that takes time. You really kind of want to kind of get into a rhythm, a routine of getting back into feeling those juices flowing. And that will be the hardest thing for him. I really do believe, but he certainly has plenty of experience. Augusta is really a course which suits certain players. He's won there 4 or 5 jackets, I think, 4 or 5 times. And he knows how to get his way around that golf course. So I'm sure he'll settle in pretty early and do the stuff that he knows will get him into contention on Sunday.
Sometimes it seems like the Masters is that course where experience really matters, maybe more than other tournaments. Is there truth to that?
It's certainly a course that seems to favor certain players, the horses for courses kind of thing. We know that iron play is extremely important. The greens are very undulating. They have little small plateaus. They're very fast. So, obviously having an all-rounded game is really important at Augusta. You need to hit the ball reasonably far to give yourself shorter irons into some of these greens and be able to stop the ball near the pins. But iron play is really important. You've got to have some touch around the greens. You've got to have, obviously, good feel on the greens because the greens are so fast and undulating. But I do feel like good iron players always seem to play well at Augusta, more than some other aspects of the game. It really does reward good iron play. And Tiger, obviously, one of the best ever to be with an iron in his hand. So, I think he has a lot of experience. Obviously, I played well in my first Masters, but I think that was just through sheer excitement of being there, just being on cloud 9 more than anything. But I wouldn't be surprised if he plays a very solid week. It'd be surprising that if he won, coming back after over a year without having played a competitive round and going through everything he's done. But certainly wouldn't surprise me if he's up there and has a chance.
What about the weather? I heard that this weather this year may be a little off. Does that affect who you might like? And when you were playing, is that something that took you out of your game?
Well, the weather obviously affects everyone. I think Wednesday, Thursday, they're calling for some possible thunderstorms, so you could get some rain softening up the course. They do have that under air, the sub air underneath the course, so they can dry it out pretty quickly. Thursday's going to have some wind, and then I think there's going to be kind of some chilly mornings and not very warm temperatures. So the ball's not going to be traveling quite as far. It's going to be playing a little bit longer. Windy conditions and firm conditions are the most tough conditions for all of us golfers. That's what makes the scoring the hardest. Soft conditions, and if the conditions are soft and it's playing a little bit longer, that really doesn't affect score for the guys. For most of the guys, especially the guys that can move it off the tee. So, I expect the cold conditions probably won't be too favorable for Tiger. I mean, he would have wanted something a little bit warmer just to keep his body a little bit more limber and a little bit more moving. But I'm sure he'll deal with it just fine.
Now, this is something that bothers me about golf. You said the weather would affect everyone, but sometimes that's not true based on your tee time. It's the weather is changing. True. And it just seems so unfair.
You can get certainly bad draws. You hope over a course of a year that the good draws and the bad draws kind of equal themselves out, and you get some good draws on some of the bigger events like the Masters and the majors and the world events. Yeah. But I guess that's the beauty of our sport. We're not inside a dome. We have to adjust to different wind conditions, different weather conditions, different grasses, different wind directions. Every day the things are changing, and we have to adjust to that and be good at that.
I would be so petty. I would blame the weather every time. I'd be like, well, I teed off at noon. Did you see the weather report then? That's horrible.
And there are players that do that.
Would you rather be playing with a lead, you make it to Sunday, or would you rather be playing a couple shots behind and chasing the leader?
I mean, that's what made Tiger as amazing as he's ever been. I think he's only lost a lead once or twice in his career. Obviously playing in front is harder. Playing catch up is easier. There's a little bit less pressure. You have a goal in front of you to go. People who are in the lead usually play a bit protective. Tiger was so good at keeping leads because he just played his own game. He didn't really, he kind of made other players chasing him feel like they needed to do more, and then they got into mistakes themselves. So would I go back to your question? I suppose you always want the lead. You always want, because that's going to give you the best chance statistically. So take the lead and go try and play a solid round.
I like that. There's been some line movement, but Jon Rahm is still the favorite. Obviously, everyone's been waiting to see what's happening with Tiger, but who do you have a good vibe with or feeling about winning this weekend?
I do like Cam Smith. He just obviously fresh off winning the Players' Championship. He's played here 5 times, and I think he's had a couple seconds and a third in those 5 times. Xander seems to always play well. Again, I'm just looking at guys that have playing pretty well this year and have had a lot of success there in the past. You can never count Jon Rahm out. Scotty Scheffler, the new number 1 in the world. I don't think he probably has quite enough experience, but I can't remember seeing him up near the top of a leaderboard. But Justin Thomas, I'm trying to think of guys that are always up there. Brooks Koepka, I think he seems to play very well. He's been a little bit quiet this year, but those are the kind of names that are jumping out at me.
Okay. Also want to ask you about the Ryder Cup a little bit. It's not until next year in Rome, but Team Europe a few weeks ago made their decision that Henrik Stenson will captain the squad. Many people thought you would be next in line to take over the captain role. What do you think about the decision?
Thanks for bringing that up. I mean, obviously, yeah, I was disappointed. I put my name forward, and I would have loved the opportunity. I've been a part of, as I said, 6 Ryder Cups. I've been on 5 winning teams. A lot of my best experiences on the golf course have been during Ryder Cups. Just love being a part of teams, and so different to what we play every week in, week out. It's such an individual sport, but those Ryder Cups coming together, sharing kind of dinners at night and stories, and just kind of feeling what it'd be like to be a part of a team in your sport, which we don't get to do too often. So, yeah, I would have loved to have done it. I'm very happy for Henrik, a worthy candidate too, and has a great record. I think he's played 5 Ryder Cups, and again, first captain from Sweden, and again, I will be there to support any way I can. But yeah, disappointed that I didn't get an opportunity this time. But hopefully, down the road, I still have that opportunity.
Did anyone from Team Europe tell you what went into the decision or anything, or?
It was a different process this year. They had 5 people. The last 3 captains. They had the Keith Pelly, who runs the European Tour, and David Howe, who's the head of the committee of the European Tour. And between them, they made the decision. So you'd have to ask them. I did kind of try and poke a little bit and say, what could I have done better, et cetera, et cetera. But they said. All those conversations were going to stay behind closed doors. So I'm sure I'll find out one day. But again, wishing Henrik nothing but the best.
Now, a few years ago, I had the amazing opportunity to golf with Steph Curry. And obviously, he's pretty well known for being an amazing golfer. Justin Timberlake, I hear, is a scratch golfer. Now we've seen Tom Brady in the challenge drill shots. Have you played with any celebrities, and were you floored by how good they were, or have you have any experience playing against any of those guys?
I've
Jordan
played,
loves it.
I've played with MJ. I've played with Tom Brady. Verlander's pretty good. Justin Verlander. He's a strong lad. Obviously, hits the ball a mile. I've heard Steph is really good. I've not played with Steph Curry.
I would think playing with MJ is just more about the gambling. Like, did he just try to suck you dry? What'd he do on the course?
Let's put a couple dollars on this, Luke.
I've known MJ a long time. It was back to when I was in college in Chicago. We would play a little bit of golf sometimes in the summers when I was sticking around playing amateur events. He loves playing with good players, and it was just after he retired. But know him very well. And he loves golfing. I mean, he'll go out and play 36 holes with 6 or 7 guys, and they'll play in 6 hours. They'll just run around, and it doesn't matter what you pay him for. He just wants to play for something. He wants to get in your pocket. He doesn't care if it's $2 or $200,000. I mean, he just wants to get those competitive juices flowing. I mean, we all watched The Last Dance. I mean, just how competitive he was and wanted to win and wanted to push his teammates to win as well. And, you see that on the golf course. He misses that, obviously, not playing basketball, and he's filling it with golf. And it's a great passion of his, and he's made a golf course down here, the Grove, which I'm a member of, and I see him out there playing a lot, and he just loves it, and it's fun.
I mean, I'm trying to picture that a Big Ten Northwestern golfer who would go on to be number 1 in the world playing with an MJ who just retired. Like, that had to have been. You must have been pretty starstruck, I would think, as a college kid.
Yeah, we probably didn't play till I was after college, just turned pro, but. I mean, I was. There's not too many people I'm like get a little nervous around, but I certainly did first meeting MJ, and obviously my wife, having lived in Chicago, was very geeky, and when she met him, but now we're like, it's like we're just like good friends, and we'll go out to dinners, and it's just MJ, it's just it's very cool. But yeah, he's been a good friend over the years, and I always appreciate talking to him. Good times, bad times. He's always very, very sensible and has good words for me.
Oh, I like that. Well, just to tie a bow on this and to bring it back to the Masters this weekend, all we're going to hear over the next 4 days is a tradition unlike any other. And it's such a great phrase. As someone who has actually played in this tournament, why is it a tradition unlike any other?
Yeah, it's just one of those events that goes above and beyond golf. It's a little bit like the Ryder Cup in terms of you have non-golfers tuning in and watching it just because of what it stands for and the hype and the kind of exclusivity almost. It's very hard to get anywhere near Augusta National. And the traditions of the green jacket, the par 3 tournament, the champions dinners, all these traditions that people love. And I think more people tune in to watch the Masters than any other golf tournament, and rightly so, because it's a special event.
Okay, wait, I do have one more about Augusta National. The first time you played there, I mean, we see how pristine it is, not a blade of grass out of place. There's not even birds, I've heard, that really can fly overhead. I'm not sure how they pull that one off, but what is maybe the most interesting thing about Augusta National?
The most interesting thing, I think, I've been able to stay on property a few times. If you go play with a member, they'll put you up on property, and in the lodges, you can watch any of the Masters dating back to 1934, the very first one, on your TV at will. They have them all collected there, so you can go through any Masters, sit in your bedroom, and watch them. And that's kind of a cool little thing that not a lot of people know about. No.
Good to know.
That's
Although
awesome.
If I'm staying there, I don't know if that's how I'm spending my night. I think I'm going up to the clubhouse and going to schmooze.
They have a pretty good wine cellar too. And the prices are good. They sell it for like 5% above what they're probably one of the nicest and best wine cellars in the whole world.
See, now we're talking. Now we're talking, Luke.
Great wine.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Bring a bottle back to the lodge and then put on your favorite Masters.
And then put on the 1934 Masters. Yeah, exactly. That sounds like a wild night.
That's
Thank
crazy.
you so much, Luke. This was a lot of fun, and best of luck the rest of the season.
All right. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, your mother-in-law's probably got some pasticcio ready for you, so we'll let you go.
Oh, yeah. I can smell it.